الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وأعنا على العمل بما علمتنا. O Allah, we ask you to teach us or benefit us and let us benefit from what we learn and increase our knowledge and let us practice what we learn. This is lesson 7 in this series of halaqas, inshallah, lessons knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are starting with the 14 main characters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are: Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists, He is the living, He is one, He has no beginning, He has no end, nothing like Him. He takes care of Himself and everything else. He has the power and the will to do anything possible. He knows everything, sees everything, hears everything, He talks, and He is the creator of everything and every action. So alhamdulillah, we finished so far discussing the characters of His existence, the living, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today inshallah we're going to talk about two characters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala: al-awwal wal-akhir. He has no beginning and He has no end. Al-awwal, the first; al-akhir, the last. Really in Arabic, the more closer meaning of one part of the meaning of al-awwal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-akhir, He has no end, He's forever. First, inshallah, we're going to start intellectually and scientifically talk about this character. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this character in the Quran Kareem. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والأول والآخر. When we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning, then we have two options. Either He is the creator or He is the creature. So either He's been created or He is the source of creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ikhlas, لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. He was never born. If we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, astaghfirullah, He has a beginning, then the question comes in, okay, who's the one who created Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And somebody will say, well, there's another God, okay, and then after that, is that God is the source? Because is that God the source? That's Allah. No, there's another one. Okay, well, how far are you going to go? Intellectually, you can't go forever. If something dependent on something came from something, you can go, but you can't go forever. You have to reach a source that started everything. Our intellect, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our brain, our capacity to think will not accept this going forever. You have at one point to have something that is the creator of everything, that has no beginning. Because as soon as you say it has a beginning, that something else started it. And that's one part of knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He said in the Quran, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Nothing is like Him. Everything we know in this universe has a beginning. So nothing like Him. So even intellectually, when you go with the series, this came from this came from this, all goes back to the source, to the one source, and that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another aspect, if we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a beginning, then now we're saying that He is similar to a creation, to one of these creations. But one of His characters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us about Himself, is that nothing like Him. So now when you say that He has a beginning, you are making Him similar to something new now, which is everything around us we know has a beginning. And another aspect of this name, of this character, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not non-existence and all of a sudden came to existence. The existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forever in the past and is forever in the future. He is the source of this existence we are in. And when we say Al-Awwal has no beginning, do not include the time. In other words, you don't say, okay, we go back in time, billions and trillions and billions and trillions of years, and all of a sudden it started there. No. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created time. Okay? Time does not surround and engulf Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, astaghfirullah. He created the time what we know. So He is existing before time. He created time and He created space. So you can't say, well, finite years of no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created time that we know. And these are these are the facts of existence. These facts, comes from Al Quran Al Kareem. This is not a philosophical issues, an imagination. This is based on intellect, our ability to think and reason, and also from Al Quran Kareem. Because the one who created our minds, our way of thinking, this universe, and sent the Quran is one. And you will never see contradiction in this matter. The issues now, in this time of advancement and internet, there is a lot of ideas that are thrown in the internet and other medias, really directly or indirectly attacking these ideas. And alhamdulillah, for a true believer, nothing, if they have a little bit of knowledge, it's not going to affect them. The problem we have is our kids that are growing up, and they start asking these questions. And when they get exposed to these ideas, you get a lot of confusion there. But simply, in the science of Tawheed, in the science of Al-Aqidah, in the science of creed in Islam, all these aspects, all these questions already covered and answered. So these are facts of the universe. This is the type of God that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the characters of that God that Allah created in us, in our instinct, only submit to the perfect one. And the perfect one should not have a beginning, because if he has a beginning, somebody started him. Then I don't want that God, I want the God who started the whole thing. You will not submit. It's inside of you. It's already programmed inside of you. The same thing forever. Al-Akhirah. Okay? Some of the evidence from the Quran Al-Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, describing Himself and give us these characters, He said, هُوَ الْأَوَّلُ وَالْآخِرُ. One meaning of the word al-awwal, that he has no beginning. And al-akhir, he has no end. Another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا كَيْفَ يُبْدِئُ اللَّهُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. Haven't they see how Allah started the creation? And you see that every day around you. People born, animals born, trees grow, green leaves comes up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of this universe. He started this universe. So He is the source of existence. The other character is al-akhir. Al-akhir, that's mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no end. He is forever. And this is one part that He gives us the life forever after this life. It's one of the requirement for the God is to have no end. Because if a God has an end, something has to end that God. And that's not the one we want to worship. Our instinct does not submit to that. Al-fitra. You know, there's a hadith from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in the meaning saying that every person is born on fitra, born in believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, born as a Muslim, believing in the perfect creator. But then as they grow, their parents change their attitude, the environment, all these things kind of change the way we believe in. But if you take all the arrogance, all the racism, and clear your mind, this is what you want. You want the perfect one in all aspects of life. The perfect God, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who described Himself in the Quran Kareem. Intellectually, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning, then He has no end. You know, this is simple, logical, intellectual law. Because if He had no beginning, or if He had a beginning, He should end a long time ago. So no beginning follows it no end. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us about this character also in another ayah in the Quran Kareem. He said, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ, and depends on the living one that never dies. Very simple ayah. He is forever, has no end. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning. So nobody created Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no end. So no one can end Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the source. He is the one. And one part of He's forever, that His characters, that He has, the powerful, the knowledgeable, the all-knowing, all these powers He has does not wear off or get weaker with time. And there's nothing that, you know, in distant past He had some power, now He has more power. Everything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is constant. No matter how many universes He created, His power is perfect, is absolute, it has no limits. And one of the fascinating things in Ayat al-Kursi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described Himself, لَا تَأْخُذُهُ سِنَةٌ وَلَا نَوْمٌ. He never gets sleepy. He never sleeps. He never gets he never take naps or gets tired. لا يؤوده حفظهما. He never gets tired. That's the perfect one. That's the one you and I want to submit in the inside too. Because we're all weak. We all came from two little things we can't even see, so fragile, and we're all going to die. Nobody can claim created himself. Nobody can claim they created this universe. So we need that perfect power that created us and created the universe. And that's Him telling you who He is. And this is, as I described earlier, these are the facts, the ultimate truth of the universe. These characters we're talking about. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. That's your choice. You have a choice. And other people have choices. And other people have theories about everything. But these are the facts that if you take everything out of your heart and your brain and you sit down and think about it, this is what you want to submit to. That's a fitrah. That's what Allah put inside of you. And everything around it supported. Now we move on to, as we do in every character, is how we are going to apply these two characters today in our daily life. Al-Awwal, he has no beginning. Al-Akhir, he has no end. He is forever. Al-Awwal, he has no beginning. This is a very assuring thing to know, that everything started by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything in this universe, we know and we don't know, is started by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Us human, animals, stars, mountains. So anytime in this era of scientific advancement, ideas or theories come up about the origin of mankind, the origin of the universe, and how everything started. It's all good. As Muslim, we listen. As a true Muslim, a true believer, if anything comes up that clearly contradicts this fact, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of everything, you should automatically really reject it. Not necessarily, out loud, most importantly, inside. Then, for these people who say, human beings started from whatever, or this universe started with some gas, this all of a sudden came up on everything, and all these theories, just pay attention. And if you're not really into a little bit, if you don't have much knowledge in these areas, don't discuss these things with these people or argue with that, because you need to know a little bit about these theories and how they come up with. But simply always remember, these are theories. In scientific language, a theory is anybody can come up with a theory. Is you say, I think this happened because of this. That's fine. Present the proof. That's all what you have to do. Otherwise, anybody can say anything about anything. You present the scientific proof, not because you think human being came from whatever you want to say, because you saw fossil. Come with the scientific proof, and we will sit and talk with you about this scientific proof. Because the true believer never has doubt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he believes, that's what we say, a true believer, if he believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you believe in the Quran, Allah is not going to inform you of a scientific facts that contradict with the Quran and contradict what he tells you. The issue is we need to learn and we need to understand these things. So never have doubts, because some of the weaker Muslims, if something comes up, we found a fossil proof that human species, whatever, they get shaken from the inside. It's clearly Allah told us in the Quran, He created Adam and He taught Adam, and this is it. Our part is to tell these people to present the scientific proof, and then we will discuss this scientific proof. And so far there's none. And there's so many theories and they keep changing. Because our deen is based on science, is based on intellect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Even in the matter of your deen, your Islam will not be accepted if you just were born Muslim and never have learned about your deen. Just because my mom and dad were Muslims, I'm Muslim, I'm fine. Allah ordered you to learn about your deen. Because the one who created the universe and sent the Quran and the scientific laws and everything runs is one. It's from Him. So knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning, everything comes from Him, He is the source of our existence and everything else is existence. The practical application of Al-Akhir. Al-Akhir, one of its meaning is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no end. He is forever. How does that apply to our daily life? Knowing, understanding, and applying this name. With some ayat in the Quran Kareem where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِلَيْهِ يَرْجِعُ الْأَمْرُ كُلُّهُ, and to Him return all matters. So as you live your daily life, as you hear, as you read, the powerful people, the rich people, the weak people, the poor people, the healthy people, the sick people, the powerful government, the weak government, all of these are going to end with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no matter how tyrant one person become, no matter how powerful one person become, Allah might give them time. But at the end, they're going to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at Fir'aun. Allah gave him the wealth, the power, and even He gave him time to tell people that he is the God, and let him deal with it for a while. And at the end, Allah took him. He went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, this concept, everything returns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no matter how many bad situations I get myself into, no matter how what seems to be injustice going on in this world, always remember that all of this is going to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the one who has no end. He created them and they're going to go back to Him. And in the day of judgment, all the accounts will be settled. This is just a test. This is just a test for each one of us in every aspect of our lives. So don't be afraid Don't be shaken from the inside. When you see people rising in power, when you see wars, killing, tyrant, do your part. Help out. Stop them if you can. But always confident, secure in the inside, knowing no matter how bad the situation is going to be, all returns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The name of Al-Akhir. He has no end. Everything returns to Him. He sent us out here for a test, and we're going to go back to Him. Unfortunately, some people, when things happen, bad things happen, calamity happen, wars happen, they say, where's Allah? Feels like they're being shaken inside. But always remember, Inna Allah yumhilu wa la yuhmil. He give things time, but He never ignores things. He always watching them. There is a wisdom behind that. Another practical thing to know, we talked before and we said that we are living forever. Think about this for a moment. You, me, and everyone who reached the age of puberty and above and reach the message of Islam, we are living forever. You yourself, what you believe in, are living forever. No matter how rich, how poor, how powerful, how weak, whatever it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا. He talked about the people who go to Jannah and Nar, that خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا by itself indicate forever. Abada is an emphasis that it's forever. And the name of Al-Akhir, He has no end. So our life forever is coming from Him. People reach, 50, 60 retirement age. Oh, now I need to think about this. It's just the beginning. It's really just the beginning. When you reach that age and retirement, it's time now it's not time to retire, it's time to meet Allah, and you never know when. But you are living forever by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just sit down by yourself and think about it. And when you read the Quran, every time He said خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا, in it forever, not a billion, a trillion years, forever. That's one other application of this name, Al-Akhir, in your everyday life. Some people say, that's not fair, really. We come here, we live, let's say a productive life, average these days, 50 years? Taking off the later part when you're too old to do anything or too young to understand anything. Let's say 40, 50 years. That's, if you are a true believer, you're praying and you're doing good deeds. If the message gets you and you don't believe in it, you commit bad things and didn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you die. And then I'm going to spend the rest of my life in hellfire because of 50 years that I did not worship Him, don't believe in Him. That doesn't sound, fair. You disobey 50 years, you should be punished 50 years. But subhanAllah, when you read the Quran, believing in Him, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all these characters we've been talking about for the past 4, 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks now, they are so easy to understand. Everything is so simple. Anybody can believe. Anybody can reach these simple facts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make everything is so easy for everybody to believe and enter Jannah. One of the situations in the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing the people who are going to Nar. You know what they say? لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل. If we just listened and used our minds, that's all. Not having billions of dollars, or went to the Sharia school, or did this. If we just listened and thought about it a little bit, we will not be in this mess. It is so simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you He is with you everywhere you go. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you touch, everything you taste is His creation, is His miracle to you. So it is so easy and so simple to believe in Him. That's one answer to that. Why you're gonna, if you don't follow His way, you're gonna spend all your life, or you spend forever in Nar. And the other thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us about also, that after all these simple things that Allah give us to believe in Him, and there's still people don't believe in Him, these people in the Day of Judgment, they're going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a second chance. Oh Allah, please bring us back to this life that you and me are in now. They want to come back here so they can become a true believer after they saw the Day of Judgment. And if you have doubt about the Day of Judgment, think where you came from and where you're going. And the one who made you the first time, He's going to make you the second time. Unless you have other plans, or plan to go somewhere where He can't get you, good luck to you. He's going to bring you back the same way He created you the first time. So these people wants to come back, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the all-knowing, He tells us, He's telling us about these people. Even if I bring you back here, you're going to go back to the same way you did the first time. And look at this practical thing in our life. Okay? How many times, sometimes ourselves, or sometimes our brothers and sisters, they do something bad. They listen to halaqah or khutbah, oh this is great and now I'm going to straighten up. And then a week later, they go back where they were. It happens now. Even though it was, good learning experience, they know a lot of stuff, but they did not practice. And these people who are destined for hellfire forever, even if Allah let them live in this life forever, they are not going to change their mind. And that's the reason why they get hellfire forever. The arrogance that they choose to have, and they die on it. They die on it. Even if they live 1 billion years, they're going to be still not believing. The same thing with the true believer. When that iman enters your heart, no matter what happened, you're going to die believing in Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as a reward for you, He will give you the life forever. So it's fair game. It's fair game. Now, one of the thing that people might question is, said, okay, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has no beginning, He has no end, but it's just hard to imagine how He has no beginning and how He has no end. Well, it's also impossible for me to imagine that. And this, I'm going to take you a short back to our first couple of halaqas lessons we have. First of all, one of Allah's characters, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. If people from Adam until the Day of Judgment, each one of them, sit down, use their mind and their imagination and try to imagine and figure out how Allah looks like, how He knows everything, how after they come up with all these ideas and all these imaginations, you put them in a big clump and say, none of that. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, nothing like it. The other important aspect that we talked about, people fail sometimes to distinguish between intellect, mind, and imagination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our intellect and our ability to think. As you read the Quran, always in a lot of ayahs, Allah asks you to think. Use the mind He gave you. Our intellect and our brain capacity, you can believe in something without imagining that thing. Why? Because to imagine something, you must have had experience with that thing, or similar to that thing, or components of that thing. Might sound a little weird. Imagining something. You cannot imagine something that you have no prior experience with it, with something similar to it, or the component of it. There's no way. So when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning, it makes sense, it makes logic, intellect. Yes, everything has to start with the source. But then how come the source has no beginning? You go to the compartment of imagination in your brain looking for that something that has no beginning. There's nothing in there. Everything we know has a beginning, and we know it has a beginning. So when you look in the imaginatory compartment in your brain, there's nothing there. And people, when they say, "Oh, this is just a philosophical," no, it's not philosophical. It's your imagination that you don't know how to use. I can imagine a donkey, a real life donkey, with car tires on its leg, and one wing instead of his tail, and has a head of a fish. This thing doesn't even exist, but I imagine it. Why? Because every part of this imagination I already know something about. I know what the car wheels looks like. I know what the head of the fish look like. I know everything I know, but I came up with something new. But the component of it I have experience with. But if you have no experience with the component, you can't imagine something you have no prior experience with. For instance, we all believe that there's ruh, there's soul, yeah? I mean, that's what keeps us alive. And even at the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they asked the Prophet, and Allah answered the question. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلُ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. They ask you about the soul, what this is keep us alive. Say, this is Allah's business. You will never know. but you believe in it. You see somebody dead, 5 minutes ago they were breathing, sometimes they were talking to you, and all their body parts is still there, and 5 minutes later they're lifeless. What is that thing that was keeping them going? Nobody knows. But we believe that they had a soul, they had something there. Right now, can anybody imagine what the air look like in this room? What's the shape of it? Do we believe 100% with our minds that there's air in this room? Well, tell me what it looks like. You go to your compartment of imagination, I've never really seen an air in the room. I see everything else, but I didn't see the air. But I know the air is there, because if there is no air, I'll be dead. So your mind believed in it 100%, but you can't picture that. You can't imagine it, because you never had experience with seeing the air in the room. Another example. If you ask somebody who is born blind, never saw anything, as they grow up, they learn that there's day and night, and they believe 100% there's day and night, because everybody's talking about day and night and living a day and night. When you ask that person, do you believe there's day and night? Say yes. Well, explain to me, what does day look like? They have no idea, because they've never seen light. Now you ask somebody who have see things. Yeah, daylight is when the sun is out and the light's everywhere, and night's when it's dark. But the blind one, since he has no prior experience what the day look like, they can't tell you what it is, but they believe in it. The same thing, the same concept, these Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in a lot of His names, Al-awwal wal-akhir has no beginning, has no end. Intellectually, your mind believe in it 100%, but you can't imagine it, and you will never imagine it, because nothing's like it. Now, He promised us, inshallah, all of us who end up in Jannah, you're going to have the chance to see Him. But not now. So even in our daily life, there are things we believe in it intellectually 100%, but we have no idea how to imagine it, and we have no idea how it works. The phone we use, unless you are an engineer in that department, I believe in the phone, I call the family, but you ask me how does it work, I have no idea. How the microchips work and how your voice turns into words, I have no idea. But I intellectually believe in it. So the idea of I will not believe until I know everything about God, this you can't. As we talked earlier in our halaqas, our brains has limits, and you need to respect the limits. If you don't respect the limits and you start wandering over the limits, the consequences is not good. You're going to get lost, and you're going to get people lost with you, and you're going to get nowhere. And that's the problem with some of the brothers and sisters in humanity these days. It's simply put, you go drive in the country and you get a bridge. Before you cross the bridge with your car, there's a little sign that says weight limit 10,000 pounds. There's nothing wrong with the bridge. There's nothing wrong with the sign. And there's nothing wrong with your car. But if you do not respect that sign and drive your vehicle that is twice as heavy as that sign, you might end up dead. But if you respect that sign and you know your car is not that heavy, then you can safely drive over the bridge and get to your destination. The same thing with the intellect, the power to think. We are weak. We are creatures. We came from a little sperm and a little egg we can't even see. It is so weak, if you smash it, you're dead. And you're gonna die no matter who you are. Respect that. You go to sleep, you lose your mind. You take some drugs, you lose your mind. You know what's here. Do you know what's outside that wall? You don't. Allah knows. So be respectful to the power that Allah gave you and use it wisely and use it correctly. That's why going deeper into these situations, try to figure out things, you don't need that. You just kind of waste your time and use that bridge with the car probably 100 times heavier than what the sign says. And that's what happened with people. That's why, all these theories come out. Always remember that. We are the creature and He is the creator. And also, this is the last note, the laws that applies to the creature does not apply to the creator. What that means is, ليس كمثله شيء, nothing is like Him. For us to hear, we have to have ear and air and these little bones that moves and all that stuff. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everything, but not like us. He sees everything, but not like us. So don't try to apply Allah's laws for us on this earth onto Him. Okay? He is the source. Remember when we said in the beginning, Al-awwal wal-akhir, in time, there is no time. He created time. It's not like time is here, Allah started here. No, He created time. Once we were asked, I think it was the companion Ali radiallahu anhu, if I'm not mistaken, somebody asked him, when was Allah? When did He start? And Ali asked, when He wasn't. What time He wasn't? He's always there. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين.